Okay, so here's the project, I guess. We watched Rough Crossing tonight about an hour ago at the LMC Theater, put on by Sean O'Neill and by Tom Stoppard. Now, the assignment's a bit fuzzy on whether or not we're supposed to actually have a prepared script or something for this. It just says it discusses a group. Our group happens to consist of 2 people. I'm Nathan Orr. You talk.
My name's Lysandra Silva, so I'm going to be contributing as well.
Okay, so we just got back, and since we're only supposed to focus on one aspect of this for 10 minutes, I guess we're going to talk about the directorial choices, since that's what we both discussed most on the way back home in the car ride. Also, I apologize in advance for the editing, and this is god-awful. I've never done this kind of crap before. So to start, I did not like the play. I thought it was it was boring, but I'm never really a fan of comedies. I mean, I've enjoyed a few. One happened to be a musical, Promises, Promises, and that was more centered on actual dramatic problems, well, not dramatic problems, but real issues in the real world kind of thing, whereas this was absurd, as I guess you could call it, absurd comedy. I saw another play like that called, I think it was Noises Off, or Lights Off, and it was basically a farce, a play within a play. That was very entertaining to me, which is an anomaly for me, because I usually don't like that kind of stuff. What experience do you have with plays like this?
Well, I usually don't. I watch very seldomly plays. I did like The 12th Night, which is, again, a little bit of an over-the-top comedy, much like this, but I tend to think that this was a bit too over-the-top for my own taste. I did like the actors. I thought that the actors did a really good job, and it just kind of leaves me to wonder if this was all in the script to be over the top, or if this was a directorial choice. Because, I mean, having the characters stumble across the stage to the point where they're, like, tapping around like tap shoes, I think that's over the top.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of it you can tell was in the writing, and you can't really do much about that without branching off from the actual structure of the play. However, there were a few things which were directorial choices. I know that word, don't. Anyways,
yeah.
There were choices like that. For example, the character Adam, who was played by Devin Williams, who honestly I thought actually did a good job for this kind of theater. The way he basically, the character has a speech impediment in which it takes him a few moments to actually say anything, so he has to process what he's going to say, and then he can't stop himself from saying it, and so he ended up making this distorted face where he had his mouth hanging open for anywhere from 5 seconds to almost a minute. And I get that the character's supposed to pause for a long period of time, but the face he made was obviously over the top just to get some laughs, and I don't know, it felt cheap. And I mean, I understand that the play's not supposed to be believable, but it was like he was trying too hard to make a face that maybe an elementary school audience would enjoy. I think that the focus on this play should have been more of the writing, which, granted, there was a lot of, witty lines, but then the actual physical dancing around, like as she said, the character Dvornachich, played by Alyssa Yeager, who evidently was a male character in the script, which I figured since they mentioned her as a man at one point.
That should have been edited.
Yeah, definitely. That was another thing. They could have easily changed that to a woman.
Or just not even say anything, or just say, the waiter or the waitress or anything. No, I guess that has a sex.
I don't know.
The server. There we go.
I just think they should have changed the line from "Hey man" to "Hey lady" or "Hey woman"
hey
or
there.
a woman. Yeah, it was stupid. But I'm not really trying to talk about the actors here because we have to focus on.
Well, that's not an act. That's a kind of
right. No, I'm just saying because I'm calling out the actors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then Ivor Fish, who I don't know, and they kept describing him as this big Russian guy, so I imagine they'd want to put an accent on him. Maybe the actor wasn't able to perform that, and that actor did this admirably, I think. But then again, the role was kind of silly. He's that buffoonish kind of character who, well, he's like the Homer Simpson of the play.
Well, in my opinion, I really think that him being so he was really a dim-witted character. Like, he was really kind of stupid. And for you to put a big luxurious accent, like a Russian accent on it, might be giving him... No, it's a little bit too much credit. For a character that the character is supposed to be pretty stupid.
Right, so you're born and raised in Russia. Okay. You're stupid. That doesn't mean you have an American
Yeah, but to an audience, I think that the audience would portray that character to be a little bit smarter than he is. Just because he has an accent. I mean, let's think about the British.
No, because I mean, God, look at any of those. What are they called? That Monty Python sketches. Those are full of buffoonish, stupid characters with. I keep saying buffoon characters with accents. They're all idiots. And I mean, I've seen many representations of Russian people in animation.
I drink vodka.
Yeah, exactly.
I like potato.
That kind of bullshit. So I don't think it would have been too hard to do. And then again, I don't know, maybe he didn't.
Yeah,
he
maybe
just
it was
decided not to do
limited.
it. So choices like that. The character who was dancing around, we at first thought she may have been, intoxicated, and they were trying really hard to portray that. But later on, it kind of became apparent. And after doing some research, yeah, she's just written to not have gotten used to her sea legs, and that was made very apparent.
But
in a
they
scene.
hadn't even taken off. They were still at dock.
Right, but the boat still moves in the water. They're still floating in water.
Still no.
But during the storm scene, it was made apparent that she wasn't actually, or she was not used to sea legs because the ship was rocking so badly that it matched up with the way she would rock back and forth. So she was the only character managing to stand still while everyone else flew back and forth on the stage.
But still, swaying is so much different than tap dancing. Damn near. I really regret that they did that because I sat there thinking, she's tap dancing.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like they were trying way too hard, making her lurch across the entire...
I mean, swaying, like, that's different. But, I mean, jumping around, she's...
Yeah, she was definitely lunging across the stage back and forth constantly. There was some entertaining audience interaction where she was having trouble putting a flower in a vase, and so she gave it to one of the audience members, breaking the fourth wall of that cool jazz. And I don't know, I mean, I think a lot of this was just the writing, because I've actually seen some stuff by O'Neill, not saying he's some big-time director, but I went to high school where he taught, and he put on many plays, which I watched there, and I actually enjoyed very many of those. Of course, most of those were tragedies, not tragic. They were pretty good. They were tragedies, and I just tend to like those more than comedies, so this kind of offset me, especially the over-the-top, stupid kind of, haha, look at point and laugh slapstick comedy. I find it cheap. And, the big problem is, why did he choose this play? There's got to be so much more. I remember I saw at Los Medanos, it was a semester or two ago, I saw How I Learned to Drive, which was more of a drama, and it was basically about this incestuous family and this girl growing up in it. And I thought, that was actually done really well. I mean, obviously, there was a certain level that you would expect because it's at a community college. These people are just starting out, whatever. They don't have any professional training. But it was still done really well, and this one just disappointed me. I mean, I sat there 20 minutes in thinking this is going to be a really long play because the way they decided to really bring out how over the top everything is. They definitely could have played that down and focused on the dialogue, which I thought they didn't focus on enough. It seemed like a lot of the actors weren't rehearseful enough. They were not stumbling, but you could definitely see on their faces that they were trying to remember their lines. It got clunky too. The way it was presented, the way they had the characters jabbering on, like they were just. I mean, it was hard to follow, and I feel stupid for saying that because normally I don't have trouble, following this kind of stuff. But just the way they showed it, it was. I mean, even the characters in the play themselves were saying it was hard to follow. Yeah, they could definitely could have.
It lost interest. It became watching these people bounce around instead of actually listening to what they're saying. Yeah, it's too much distraction. I'm not saying that we have to dumb it down for an ignorant audience. I'm saying that it needs to be a little bit more clear.
Yeah, they could have slowed down. They could have enunciated some stuff. I mean, characters were like jumping in and out. It felt like the entire. I'm not going to say second act because I can't even tell when the act started and ended. This thing was so compressed. But after the intermission, basically that's when it lost all kind of composure. It lost all structure. It just
the play within a play. That's what I was just like. I don't know what's the play anymore. What's the play inside the play? It's not just because. The lines are difficult. It's just the way there was not really a distinction between voices of what's being played out and what's a part of, just dialogue. It felt very sloppy there.
Yeah, and I think he.
But I feel like I'm bashing it too much. I really do.
Well, it wasn't very good, and obviously we didn't enjoy it very much.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I feel bad. I really like O'Neill
as
a person.
Too. Yeah, he's amazing.
Were he ever to pray on the site and see this, I like his other work.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Music Man.
Let's stay on topic. Yeah.
You're stealing my limelight.
I think overall, the play was just a bad choice. I think that it could have been more salvageable. I mean, even reading the reviews when this thing was, going on in professional theater, it wasn't received really well. I don't know why this was chosen. It seemed like there was a lot more focus on the
Cheap
slapstick
laughs.
dancing around, the cheap laughs, than the actual humor in the lines. Because I appreciate it when there's intelligent writing rather than just, hey, look at that person's tripping around.
I really, really though have to tip my hat to the lead character, Sandor, to Mario
Mario
Castillo.
Costello played him.
He was great.
Or Castillo,
You can see that there was definitely some passion in that.
I thought
And the lines were difficult. I saw it was pretty difficult.
he once again, whenever he delivered a joke, he would suddenly his voice would raise incredibly into this inhuman
if that's
characteristic.
that, you have to chop up to directorial
Exactly, and that's what the
choice.
discussion's about. The directorial choice. I didn't like it. I mean, he himself was a fine.
Yeah.
He did actually very well. I thought most of them did very well. None of them did particularly bad. There were just some performances I enjoyed over the others. So I think that choosing this play was a bad idea, and overall the choice to focus on the action rather than the dialogue was silly, because in a comedy it's not all just supposed to be slapstick. I mean, even in the Looney Tunes you have Bugs Bunny dishing out some intelligent lines here and there. We're at 11 minutes now, so any last comments?
I hope O'Neill never sees this. I really, really like the other plays that I've seen him do, especially in high school. I watched Music Man and was actually a bit of a part of it, doing lights, and I thought that it was hilarious, but it wasn't, again, bouncing around being stupid. It was quite intelligent, and there was some funny lines in there. It was a bit of a comedy, but that's all I really have to say.
Yeah, so as a last-minute saving grace to Mr. O'Neill, he does really good work. This was just, I think, a bad choice, and they didn't do very well with it. That's about it. Thanks for watching. If any of you classmates actually take the time, which I sincerely doubt.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.